Let's start off by taking a look at some things that do sound pretty natural in American English pronunciation. Firstly, taking a look at stress patterns. And this makes sense. English is a stress-timed language. That means that words that receive emphasis tend to have a little bit of a higher pitch, and they're also going to be held longer. This is going to apply to all varieties of English. So this is what you would expect. Take a look, for instance, at this example.
It's so much more exciting and inspiring.
Which word do you hear being stressed? I'm hearing so, the adverb. And a lot of times adverbs that are emphasizing degree are adverbs that do receive stress, like so tired, so fast, or in this case, so much more, so much more. So emphasizing adverbs like this in this situation, I think makes a lot of sense. You can also see it in this example here.
I guess there's certainly been a lot of attacks.
Certainly. There certainly have been really stressing that adverb there again. So this is something you can apply to your own language to sound more natural in English. If you had adverbs like so or really, these are adverbs that you can add a little bit of emphasis to if they come before a verb or an adjective. Take a look at this next sentence for another strategy that he's using in his speech that I think sounds supernatural.
We need kind of the next generation of rockets and spacecraft.
Notice how he says the word spacecraft. Oops, I said it wrong there. Notice I said spacecraft with like a falling intonation. Craft, craft, falling intonation. But he's actually using rising intonation. Craft, craft, a slight rise. This is a little bit unusual because in American English, typically when you have a sentence, you're going to use falling intonation at the end. So for instance, I went to bed. I went to bed. Notice bed has a falling intonation there. But in this case, what he's actually doing is he's using a rising intonation even though we're at the end of the sentence. Unusual, but actually pretty common among native speakers, especially if it's in the middle of a dialogue or something that you're saying or something that shows that you're not done talking. You may have finished your sentence, but there's more information you want to add later. So it's very common in these situations to have that rising intonation. And I think that's why having that on spacecraft here makes it sound a little bit more natural. And it's also something that a lot of people who learn English tend to struggle with or don't do as much in their own speech, even though native speakers can do it all the time. For the last strategy that I think sounds really natural in American English, I want you to listen to these words and see if you can notice anything in common.
SpaceX, SpaceX, ticket.
Both of these are compound nouns. Compound nouns function kind of like how words do in Chinese, where you have multiple words that join together to make a single word. To give you an example, SpaceX, SpaceX. It's the name of his company. It's a compound noun though, even though it's two separate parts, we're treating it as a single unit in this case, so we're going to stress space, SpaceX, SpaceX, as opposed to SpaceX. Can you hear the difference there? SpaceX versus SpaceX. Stress space for the name of his company. A more common compound noun is the second example, return ticket. A return ticket is a specific thing. So we're going to stress return, return ticket, return ticket. By the way, if you want to get a free assessment of your English, especially for how you're pronouncing vowel sounds, be sure to visit our website and sign up for our free pronunciation test for vowels. So all these things I think can make Elon Musk's English sound more American or more naturally American. But there are also some things that he's doing that sound a little bit less common for what you'll see in the US and in Canada. Starting with this.
Worth. Make Mars work. Dollars.
Notice any similarities between these words? Where did the R's go? American English requires you to really make sure that your R's are strong and clearly pronounced. And that's just not happening with a lot of these words. For instance, I'll say a word, then show you how Elon says it. Earth.
Worth.
Earth.
Worth.
Make Mars work.
Make Mars work.
Make Mars work.
Make Mars work.
Dollars.
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 Again, the R's that you just heard from me are going to be a little bit stronger than the R's that you'll hear from Musk. Another big difference between American English and other varieties of English involve how to pronounce A's. In American English, you're more likely to find sounds like ah or ah. For instance, compare these words. I'll go first, then Elon. Spacecraft.
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 Half.
You have.
Half.
You have.
Not.
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 Again, notice those and those ah differences between American English, my version, and his. A similar vowel sound that tends to be different between American English and other varieties is the oo sound. Oo. In American English, you don't need to add like an e sound before it. So it's not like ew, it's just oo, oo. Compare this word. Do.
Do is.
Do.
Do is.
So again, not do, not do, more do. Going right to the vowel. Another big difference though that you may notice is placement in American English. So again, in American English, placement is going to be low and relaxed. And again, it's going to be more ooh sound, ooh. So it's not ew, ew, do. It's more do, do. Keeping that low and open in the throat. More air, lower placement. One last difference between American English and other varieties involve T sounds. T in American English has many different possibilities in terms of how to pronounce it. We've talked about them in some other videos that you should check out if you're curious. But one thing you're going to notice here is a difference between how I pronounce my T sounds and how Elon pronounces his. Take a look at this. Why wouldn't you?
Why wouldn't you?
Why wouldn't you?
Why wouldn't you?
Another way that you may hear that pronounced in American English, besides that ch sound, can you hear that like wouldn't chew? Wouldn't chew. You can hear that ch sound, which often is found linking to like a y sound. It's like chew, wouldn't chew. But another way you could pronounce this too is actually kind of more holding the T. Like why wouldn't you? Wouldn't you? Instead of wouldn't chew, you can say wouldn't you? Or like other varieties of English, but not so common in American English, you can actually pronounce the T sound more. It's like wouldn't you? Wouldn't you? But again, in American English, North America, not so common. Earlier we mentioned the concept of compound nouns, and this is actually super common in English, so to make sure that you're doing it right and often enough, check out this video.